Alright guys, we are live with the 6th and final step of TrackMania Grand League Winter 2020 season. Right now we have Papu in first with 246 points, we have Carl in second with 194, Ryulu in third with 159, we have Scrappy in fourth 143, Tween fifth 129, Pharrell 6th 124, Kappa 7th 115, and Spam in 8th with 91. The top 8 at the end of today's playday will move on to the playoffs and guarantee themselves a spot in LYON. But we are going live on Starcase, first map of the last step of this TrackMania Grand League season. Here we go. And we are spectating Spam right now in 8th place. We'll have to defend his position. He wants to get to the playoffs. Seems everyone has gotten past the start just fine. Someone had a bit of a shaky landing. I believe that was Bren, who's now in 13th place. And Bren needs a really good step this time. He is in 9th place, only 10 points behind Spam that he has to make up for. But he has posted on social media that his setup isn't ideal right now due to a power outage, so we'll see how he does. We saw Matt there with very low speed into that corkscrew, but he makes it through and is now in 14th place. Again, if you missed it, we have two missing players this step. That is Carl Jr. and Papu. No, Carl Jr. and Marcin. My bad. Carl Jr. is on vacation right now, and Marcin has connection issues again, sadly, so he will not make it directly to playoffs, but still has the chance in the combine. Let's see as they go into the first time around on the identity here. We are spectating Tween, who's a bit up in the field, and let's see different lines and setups coming in here. Wonder if everybody made it the first step. Looks good. Some slow landings, but it's all good. And now we can see the other way here that Ryulu is taken, where you go through the triangle of the multi-lap and onto the bubble. You will have a bit less speed here, which can make that landing a bit bumpy, but he makes it past just fine. We see Papu has dropped down 4 seconds behind, probably 1 or 2 bad landings in the identity that causes that time loss. And then we have Coco 3.5 seconds behind, Matt 3.2 seconds behind. Still close, still early days. The maps are longer than ever this time. This one, we are probably looking at about a 8:20 something winning time. Matt crashes that turn, will put him a bit behind. Let's take a look up in the field. We have Aurel, Massa, and Scrappy in a close fight for first. Aurel won this map last time, got himself 20 points. Now looking very good to make playoffs, but the question is going to be which spot, I think, in the playoffs. It's going to be interesting to see. He's doing a good performance so far. 2 minutes in to Starcase. Second time around on the identity, we're going to go for the overview perspective here. Get a nice look at the field as they jump into it. See if we can spot any mistakes coming out. You see Tween turtles, but miraculously saves it again. That was a great save from Tween. Matt going very close to the checkpoint will make it, and it looks like everybody is getting past this. Alright, Bren has hit the pole, and Bren is now quite far behind the field. So unlucky for Bren there in that drift section. He hit the pole, and that's now 10 seconds. So he's going to have to get more points on the other maps. So we can see a bit of a lead has been gathered by 3 players. It's Scrappy, Aurel, and Spam driving really fast so far. 123.6 lap from Scrappy is very fast on this track. And if he keeps that pace up, then I think he's going to enter the step with a great start. We have Pack and Tween, and Pack, he's not out of the picture for playoffs yet. Has 40 points though that he needs to make up to Spam to get in there. But he did manage in the beta season to get into playoffs, and it would be good for him to do it 2 times out of 2 possible. So all eyes on him right now. But Pack there hits the wall in the uphill, and that puts him quite far behind. So low speed up the hill here, and that has now doubled the distance up to first place. Let's have a look at the identity again. Any players will make mistakes here. It looks good so far. Scrappy has made a small mistake. Gets overtaken as far as I can see. And oh, the Yulu has clipped the border there. That is not so good for him. Has to take the safe route here onto the dirt and finds himself, I believe, in 11th place. Yeah, low speed at the beginning of the lap is generally not that good on this track, and you can see it right here. 8 seconds behind now. Behind Aurel. Aurel almost 2 seconds ahead of Spam and Tween right now. Driving super well on this track. It seems that he has found the flow on this, both in the last step, and he's coming out again with another great performance so far. Spam in second, looking good. Tween in third, closely together with Scrappy. We have Revo in 5th right now, and I wonder what Revo is thinking, because he's gonna need the step of a lifetime to make it to Lyon. He could climb up the ranks, but it will still have to be a godlike performance from him to get into playoffs. Massa as well needs a great step here to get himself in there. Let's go back to Tween, see the leaders of the field going for the identity. Scrappy with a very inside line. I wonder if he made that. Oh, he did. Very risky line coming out. And he hits the pole. No way. Has to now go onto the road, not the bubble. Will get passed by Massa and Papu. Puts him a bit behind. But he makes it alright. And it's still quite close. Seems Sidiulu got a clean lap there. No big mistakes for him. Has stabilized after that. One mistake in the previous lap. And still now up to 8th place. So he's gained 3 positions that lap. But wow, huge gaps. If we look at the scoreboard, you see Aurel now 4-second lead almost to Tween and Spam. And then there's another 4 seconds down to the next field of players. So I wonder if it's Aurel driving like a madman right now, or if there is a bit of nerves in this last step of Grand League. There's a lot of both pride and honor, but also that playoff spot that everyone wants on the line here. Let's see, with only 1.5 lap left, what's gonna happen. Tween made a bit of a mistake, 2 seconds lost there, and that puts him further behind Spam now. Maybe Papu can catch up to him in the final lap. We're gonna have a look at Aurel, see how he does in the identity this time around. Good landing on the first drop, good landing on the second, and he goes for this drift line that we've seen some players fail. He makes it past Spam. Will he make it past the drift line? He does. And now we have Tween with the jump line. Muscle and Scrappy going for the drift. So we see someone fail. Was it Papu who dropped down? I think it was. And Ediula a bit behind that again. So I think it's going to be between these top 7 players here that the fight for the positions is going to be had. See such a close battle between these 5 players. And then there is Spam and Aurel quite far ahead of that again. Now go into the last lap. Matt with a 1:22.31 lap time, and that's almost unheard of in a match. Matt dropping such a huge lap there, and that is probably guaranteed 2 extra points for him, although he is in 12th place right now. Very fast lap, almost unbelievable, but he does get it. And look at this, 4 players within 0.5 of a second, 0.5 actually. And this is going to be so close in the last identity. I wonder if we're going to see some players push it a bit too much through that final staircase. Let's look at Aurel one more time, and he will secure 20 points and a great start to the last step. TrackMania Grand League. Gets the first drop, gets the second, and now he's going to drop into the multi-lap. And congratulations, Aurel, for an 8:25 winning time. And there's no wonder he's far ahead. That's a sick run. Spam in second with the 8:30. And we have Pack third, Scrappy fourth, Massa fifth, Papu sixth, Tween seventh, and the Ryulu gets 8th. Kappa 10th, Revo in 11th, Matt 12th, Coco 13th, and Rollin in 14th. If he manages to finish, I think he will. But that 8:25 is such a great match time. Last week we saw an 8:28 winning time here, but 8:25 is just massive from Aurel, and he's looking on fire so far. Also a respectable time from Spam. I think it would have been enough for a second place in the previous step too, so the level is really high right now. let's have a look at the scoreboard. So we go into the second map, which is going to be Sapling. You see Matt there rewarded 2 extra points for the fastest lap. Will jump up to 9th place. Here we go. And we are on to Sapling, built by MD Point. And this is the longest map in Trackmania Grand League. Takes about 8.5 minutes to complete. Driving very fast, and it's going to be interesting to see what the players can do here. Last week we saw a lot of mistakes because this identity is one of the hardest out of all, and we're gonna have a look at it now. So the identity takes place here. Players have to jump on top of the Sapling, drop off to the side, and then they have to take speed and jump through this checkpoint on top here. Quite tricky jump to make, and you have to land in the other quarter pipe on the other side with speed, and then jump back on top of the Sapling down to the multi-lap down here. We're gonna see players go for it. If you get one part of 5 or 6 in total badly, then you will not make it. So it's very, very precise. The players have been practicing this, but we're gonna see if they can now pull it out in match when it matters the most. Players who sadly failed here last week were, to mention some, Spam, Ryulu, and Massa. Got that 9th, 10th, and 11th place, I remember, from step 5. Will they be able to get it this time in step 6? Let's see the field of players as they go into it in the warm-up. Maybe they can make some last adaptations now, depending on what happens. We can see Massa almost dropping too short, but he will make it. Gets a good line there, and now they jump onto the other side. With speed, they have to jump back on the Sapling, which can be bumpy, and landings can be tricky to control. Looks like everyone got it though quite well. Here we go. Second map. Let's see what happens. So we have Tween right now, one of the favorites on this map. He drove really well here in practice going into step 5, and I think he has maybe even refined it a bit more in the practice for step 6. He drove a 8:25 time in practice, which is unheard of on this track. It's very, very fast. We're going to be looking for lap times around 1:23 from the players. But that is if they're driving at peak level. And I can see maybe players safing a bit more as there is so much on the line this step. So we'll see what happens. Tween though building up a nice 0.3 lead ahead of everyone else in the first lap already. Could be signs of a huge performance coming out. But the map is long and you're gonna have to stay consistent here for over 8.5 minutes, which is no easy task. Here we go with the first identity. You can see the field of players if everyone makes it. First drop looks good. Going on to the second one. Oh, pack almost jumping too low. It's all good. Now we have the last part of it. Gotta jump onto the Sapling. We saw Tween with a bit of a bumpy landing, but he makes it through. And I think we have a great field of players making it through here. Ryulu with a small bump there on the transition. Doesn't lose that much, and he's still alive in the race. Coco though had a massive mistake. Rollin with quite a big mistake as well, and Papu there losing a bit of time. We're on to lap 2. See now, Tween 0.5. He's inching it out here. Each turn or each part, he's always getting a few hundreds on his opponents. You can see now 0.7 down to second. He is one fast man on this track, and it's showing right now. Could get massive points here on this map going into the final 3. Looking at the field again, we have a lot of players who are in the bottom 8 right now, doing well so far. Bren, who's in 9th in the Grand League, is now in 2nd on this map. Massa, who's in 10th or 11th, is up to 3rd, and Matt as well. So these players who need the points the most right now are doing well so far. Let's have a look on the second time on the identity. Oh, Matt with a very risky line. I think it's gonna fail, but he makes it through just fine. Jump goes well for most players here, I think. And let's see on the second part. If players get up on top of the Sapling, it should be all fine here. So, another clean lap for most of the players. No big mistakes, and we have a very competitive race on our hands here. Less than 3 seconds between the top 10. And that is just one small touch on the wall, and you will be down many positions. So, great fight here between all the players. Such a close field, and there's no saying who's gonna take it yet. Let's now have a look at the dirt, because we have seen a strategy that players have been going for on this part, where they intentionally crash the wall in the uphill. You saw Bren there do it. Matt goes for it, but Matt gets it poorly, clips the outside border 2 times, and that loses a lot of time. So it is faster if it works out, but when you get it like that, it will not save you time, and Matt drops from like 5th place down to 11th. So a small risk coming out, didn't pay off. Unlucky for Matt. But here we have the 3rd identity. Onto the Sapling they go. Scrappy with a risky landing. Massa as well, very risky. Revolution is actually the only player going on this side. He goes the opposite direction. Let's see if he makes it now. Onto the Sapling on the right side. And he will actually do it. So good job by him. Seems Matt has failed the identity here. He's 8 seconds behind. And down to 12th place. Best lap so far, a 1:23.42 by Tween, is very fast. You can see they drove a 1:23.88 this lap, and that's already a fast lap. So 1:23.4, that's gonna let him have that comfortable 1 second lead now that he can work with. Maybe he can drive a bit closer to what's comfortable for him without needing to push more, because he has built up that 0.8 lead now over Bren into the 4th lap. Looking at the current standings though, we have Tween 1st, Bren 2nd, Scrappy 3rd, Massa 4th, Aurel in 5th, Kappa 6th, Revolution 7th, Spam, and Riolu in a close battle for 8th. And if Bren gets good points on this map, he will actually get very close to Spam overall. Spam got a good first map to start it off, but Bren right now in a very good position versus him in the overall ranking. Riolu has very low speed on the first part and will have to respawn now. Unlucky for Riolu. That is down to 11th place, 9 seconds behind for him. Close together with Matt now. It's one bad landing and it puts you out of the fight. Almost 10 seconds behind. No signs of danger yet though. He still has a comfortable spot in the playoffs, but would want to get closer to Carl Jr. in the overall rankings, which he might be able to do with a good performance on the final 4 tracks. You see Papu there though, 1:23.38 lap time, and that is great from Papu. Although he's far behind, he'll take those points if he can keep that fast lap. 2 extra are gonna help him. Not sure if he really needs any more points right now, but you know, he's playing for honor and glory at this point. In 1st place in the Grand League. Let's jump up to the battle for the map win. These 3 players have been driving fantastic pace so far. I think we're gonna have to assume it's like 8:20 pace here, 8:26 maybe, 27, because this race has gone flawlessly for these 3 players. 5 laps in a row, and if they get this identity, it's gonna be very fast. Tween and Bren nail the first part, Scrappy as well, shortly behind them, and they all get through. Looking at the ranks right now, I think Papu or Revolution was it who made a mistake. Yeah, Revolution dropped down a bit. But most players got through the identity fine. And here we have the battle now for the map win. Last lap of Sapling. The difference between Bren and Tween has been 0.6 this entire race. And I'm sure Bren wants to try to close the gap here, get himself 100 euros and good points towards the playoffs. But to do that, he has to risk, because Tween won't give up this first place for free. Though it seems the gap is closing a bit. Bren with a good wall bang makes it down to 0.4, and he could actually contest this now. Realistically, 0.32 as they go into the final few turns and the identity. Will he be able to make this up? Clips the block a bit and might lose some hundreds there to Tween. Here we go though. This is where it's going to be decided. 100 euros, 20 points to the player who gets this part the best. Bren landing on the right side, gets a good landing into that quarter pipe. Will have a lot of speed, jumps lower than Tween. But Tween now with more speed. And it should be Tween here with one good landing on the Sapling and a good landing on the platform. It will indeed. Tween takes first, Bren gets second, Kappa in third, Arel fourth, Spam gets fifth, Pack sixth, Papu seventh, Massa in 8th. And it wasn't meant to be for Iriolo on this one. One mistake and he is out of the fight there. For first place, but gets through the race. All fine. We have Coco with a DNF and Rolling 40 seconds behind. Will he be able to finish here? I don't think he will, so it will actually be Matt now. 12th place, Roland and Coco DNF. 0 points out of this map for them. We have a look now at the league rankings. I think we'll find that the gap between Bren and Spam is going to be the most interesting one. So Spam right now, if he keeps these points, he'd have 105, 114, and Bren would have 100. So it is closing up again. You want to be in the top 8 at the end of the step. That is the players who move on to playoffs, guarantee themselves a spot. So Bren needs to get 14 more points than Spam in the last 4 tracks. And let's see if he can get them on this map. It is Free Spirit, built by Link. Last week, we saw Bren here with a disastrous flip before the identity. He was doing so well leading up to this map, but it all fell apart in this identity. And it's gonna be interesting to see whether or not he will have overcome that at this point and get himself some nice points. So let's see now. Then we have Free Spirit. This is again one of the longer tracks in the Grand League. Yulu with a dirty ramp cut there. I wonder if that is a warm-up only strat or something he has practiced. For the match, we saw no players actually go for that in the previous step. So could this be Ryulu's ace up his sleeve to maybe get his first map win in Grand League? Has yet to win a map so far. Could maybe, with that strat, contest it. Anyways, we have the identity on this track right here. The players have to either turn around inside the checkpoint or respawn. And they drive over the freewheeling here, so they can't accelerate until the next checkpoint. They want to take this booster and go up the hill. You can see Matt here go for it again. Or maybe not, gets a no drift. Revolution goes for it here. And the more speed you have, the better it is. Because you won't accelerate until you reach that checkpoint. But let's see now. This is the last map where players can comfortably keep their points. We have Arel in the lead so far. Tween in second, Spam in third, Pack in fourth, and Bren in fifth. And here we go. Oh, Roland touched the wall on the first drift, I think. Yeah. Puts him 1 second behind. This map is one of the more technical ones. Has a lot of drifts here, and if you are good on the textile, then this one should benefit you. Let's see. Okay, so Ryulu doesn't go for the ramp cut in the match. I think he opts to drive consistently. As always, it has worked out for him so far, as he's in 3rd place in the Grand League. As we saw, was it Spam who had to respawn? No. Okay, I wonder what happened to Spam. It was a bit of lag for me. He just disappeared from the field, but Spam is in the race still. I think he lost some speed on the transition. 0.8 behind, no worries. Here we go at the first time on the identity. So Coco with a no slide actually. Or was it Papu? Into the checkpoint. Looks fine for most of the players though. And here as well. Oh, Bren has touch. Does he have enough speed to make it up the hill? Bren, oh, he doesn't have the speed actually. Has to respawn all the way back because he touched on the booster. And he will not get many points this map now. Because the seconds are ticking away here. It's gonna be a total of 16 seconds behind Massa, who starts off this one great with a 126 lap time. And good lap times on this match, on this map, sorry, are gonna be high 122 for the flying laps. We've seen Tween being the best here in practice with about a 8:21 6 lap time. So the players are gonna have to stay in this one for another 6 minutes, driving consistently. Looking at the field though, Tween and Massa off to a great start. Tween with a landing bug, I think. Drops down behind Kappa and Ryulu. We have Scrappy and Spam a bit behind that. And our current leader, Aurel, who is in 7th right now. They go for the identity one more time. See Aurel here going for the 180, gets it good. Now they need to do 2 drifts here, which can be hard to pull off. I think Scrappy failed the drift. Drops down behind Roland now, so he's over 7 seconds behind, I believe. Unlucky for Scrappy. 6.2 seconds, 8 seconds behind it is actually the final score. Now in 13th place. We are spectating Kappa, who maybe we have overlooked a bit so far in the previous steps. Kappa is in the top 8 right now, but he will need to do decently this step to secure himself. Has about 30 points down to Spam. So just needs to get good points here. He doesn't need to risk unnecessarily like other players are forced to. He can just drive a good step here and get into playoffs. We are spectating the man who is on the edge of the field in the overall rankings, and he is doing very well so far. Spam now 3rd place overall so far the step, 23 points, and if he can defend this one in the last 3 maps, then he is going to LYON, no doubt. Driving consistently right now in 5th place in a battle with Aurel. But look at this, ladies and gentlemen, the battle of the Germans in 1st right now. We have Ryulu in 1st, and we were talking about perhaps he could go for a map win. He has not gotten one yet, but he drives a 1:22.98 lap, and with Massa now crashing, he has 1 second down to Tween in 2nd. Will Ryulu be able to get his first map win of the season? And 100 euros. This is exciting, ladies and gentlemen. He is on a roll right now, and I'm sure he knows the distance. Down to Tween. Even without the ramp cut, he gets that lead that we were talking about. Let's see if he can defend it here. Very, very exciting if Ryulu can end this step and end the playout with a map win. Tween very shaky, double touch, and drops behind Coco, 3 seconds behind. So the players are falling like flies here, but Ryulu driving consistently in 1st, 1 second down to Massa. And they're going into the 4th identity. So Ryulu goes for the 180. He gets the checkpoint. All good. And will extend his lead over Massa, who respawns in that part. Up the hill now. Let's see who has the best speed. Spam with more speed than RL gets closer to him. And it's a very close field here. You see Pack is performing well this time around too. Pack, not the best performance overall, but 20 points so far. If he gets another good match here, this could be great for Pack. We could see a potentially big performance coming up, but look at this from Ryulu. He drove quite consistent lap there. I think he had maybe a mid 123. Average lap time now of 123.32, and this is really fast as a 6 lap time. We've seen 8:21 in practice, but this could be like a 8:23 maybe, which is very fast for a match. So great performance from Ryulu so far. Needs to keep it up for 2 more minutes. And 2 minutes might not sound like a lot, but when you're driving this precisely, 2 minutes feels like 2 years. Driving close to every wall, hitting every dirt line, getting the 180 line on the identity here. There's so many things you need to nail in those 2 minutes. And Ryulu gets this part well at least, will extend his lead down to RL and Spam, who are now, I think, 1.2 seconds behind. We'll see after the identity is finished, but he has a comfortable lead going into the last lap. Let's see what the actual split time is. 1.2 seconds down to RL. Can he defend this now in the last lap and get his first map win on the scoreboard? 100 euros and good points. Looking to catch up to Carl Jr. overall. We have 1 more minute of driving here for the German. RL is chasing, doing a great performance so far this lap. Same for Spam. But will this be the moment for Ryulu to show what he's capable of in this endurance format? Looking good so far. Knows the distance down to RL is shrinking, but he still has a good lead. And doesn't need to push it more than he feels comfortable with. Though it is decreasing ever so slightly, RL has cut the lead in half down to 0.6 of a second. And will RL be able to attack this now? 0.48 only ahead as they go into the dirt where Ryulu should be the favored player. But it is only 0.34 right now. And RL is driving like a madman. We'll get closer, but Ryulu does stabilize. 0.43, and the last identity now. 1 more 180 and a good transition. Oh, he clips the platform more than RL, so RL should have the speed advantage going into the identity as they go up the hill now. Ryulu now, he is ahead, but RL with more speed, and this could get even closer. 0.37, but this should be enough for Ryulu to get the map win. And I think we can all but say congratulations to Ryulu for the 100 euros, the map win, the 20 points, and he will take that any day of the week. We have RL in second, Pack in third, Kappa fourth, Revolution in fifth, Tween in sixth, Massa seventh, Coco in eighth, and a huge collapse from Spam there. 22 seconds behind now, down in 13th place. And this is good for Pack. It is good for Bren, who doesn't lose any distance to Spam in the overall rankings. And this is actually very interesting now as we go into the last maps. Let's have a look at the current standings as of right now. So with these points, we have Ryulu now up to 189 points. That is great stuff for him. We have Bren and Spam, they're still the same distance apart, 13 points. And we have Pack with a huge climb now, up to 82 points, also showing off. But let's talk with these last 3 maps. Will decide who moves on and who has to battle in the combine against Open Grand League players. Here we go. And we are live on the 4th map, Control Tower. The nerves they must be feeling right now as they drop down on the start of Control Tower is probably immense, as they are playing for what could be the start of a great career in Trackmania esports. On this dirt right here, it's very important that they get enough speed to jump over this hole. They clip it, they will lose a significant amount of time. It looks like everyone got it well. That's something to look out for. Get bad speed there, you could potentially not make it. And this track is, in general, very high speed. It's very sketchy. One mistake here could lose you 5 or more seconds as you have to take safe route. You really want to keep your speed in every part here, and you can see that Roland is not gonna do that, drops out, and he will lose his points. Matt though at the edge of the field right now, stage to go up the staircase into the identity, which is the control tower. Let's see if players are gonna be able to get this now. Very, very important to get into the right USB slot here, and let's see if the players make it. Looks like everyone did it just fine, and we have Tween in the lead, Papu in second, we have Pack in third, Ryulu fourth, Bren fifth, Spam. It's actually so close, you can't even call out the positions right now. They're changing by the second, but all the players made it through except for Coco and Roland. On to the second lap we go. You want to stay in the top 8 positions here. You stay in the bottom 8, then you will lose your points at the end of the match. So everything you've worked for this far in the match would be for nothing if you fail. Let's have a look at the players right now. Scrappy, 9th place behind Matt. At the edge, at the cutoff, he is 0.2 behind Matt like he is now. At the end of the map, then he will lose 20 points. Massa would lose 22. Aurel actually 1 second behind would lose 44, but the one who made the biggest mistake, top contenders, is Spam right now, down to 12th place, 1 second behind. Second time around on the identity. Will they aim the jump correctly? It's a very hard jump to aim, and Aurel almost touching the roof there, but he makes it through. Massa has made a mistake, a huge mistake at that. Where is he going? He is taking the booster. It seems like, oh, will he have the speed to make this? This could be disaster for Massa if he doesn't make it up the hill here. Very low speed, but he will get it. It's a good adaptation there. 13 seconds though. That is a lot to catch up. So he might lose 22 points now because of that mistake. Aurel in 10th. 1.5 seconds behind Scrappy in 8th. And this is a bit of a bad evolution for Aurel right now. It was 0.8, it's now 1.5 into the third lap. So the time he has to make up has doubled in 1 lap. Needs to get himself together right now and get back to that pace we saw in the first 3 maps. Wants to keep these 44 hard-earned points. Let's see if he's able to do it. They're going into the third identity. We have Tween in first, Bren in second with a good performance so far, Papu in third. And will they all make it now? Oh, Pack goes flying, but he does get the landing. But does he have the speed now without the booster? I wonder if he's gonna make it up the hill. He will. So Pack there, very, very close, but he does get it. And gets out alive. Aurel's gonna take that position though. Now move up to 9th, only 0.3 behind Spam, who occupies the 8th place position. We see a lap of 1:13 coming out. A good lap time is going to be a low 1:13, so it remains to be seen. Like a very, very fast lap. 1:13 mid is still very solid. So far, seems only 9 players have survived the identity cleanly, and that's only halfway in the race. This is one of the harder identities we've seen, and it is showing right now as you have to line up that jump across the entire map almost 6 times in a row. You want to contest for this map win, and that's no easy task. Here we go, 4th time. Will the top players nail it this time? Tween gets it. Bren hits his forehead and drops down to the bottom floor, and he will get passed by Spam, Aurel, and Pack and drop down into the bottom 10. This is disastrous for Bren now regarding playoffs, because if Spam gets top 8 here, Spam will have almost a 40-point lead over Bren overall, and at that point he could almost save it if he's able to get top 8 on the bottom on the second last maps. We'll see how that goes. Right now though, Tween in first with almost 3 seconds, and then we have Ryulu in second. Ryulu driving probably his best step ever so far. He's able to get second place on this map, looking very good after that map win on the previous map. We have Scrappy in third, Kappa fourth, Papu in fifth, who we haven't seen much from this step, but he doesn't really need to show anything more after his 246 points overall. Will most likely get first place in this Grand League group stage. Rel has made his way up to 7th, and Pack has made his way up to 8th after flipping. But here we go on the identity, and it seems that everyone will make it. So will Matt now in 9th get it? Matt gets it good, actually gets it very good. Almost jumps across the freewheeling there, and maybe could get up to Pack. Would be huge for him. They are battling for the same spot. Brendo has caught up to him. Matt must have touched the wall. So Bren 9th place. If one of the top players make a mistake on the last identity, this could be the saving grace for Bren. He could still be in that fight with Spam, but he would need one of the top players to drop down. It's no longer in his hands, but in the hands of the other players. They need to clutch this out on the final one. Ryulu has gotten closer to Tween. Only 1.5 seconds. Could he get 2 map wins in a row? It would take a miracle or a mistake from Tween. Tween driving the best so far. 1.13.6 lap average so far. A great race from Tween. If he nails this last identity, then he will get another 100 euros and another 20 points. Here we go. Scrappy almost looking too short. Ryulu releasing a lot, and Scrappy could catch up to him here. It's very close. Scrappy with the most speed will take second. Tween gets the map in. Ryulu third, Kappa fourth, Spam fifth, Papu sixth, Arel seventh, and Pack gets 8. So Bren loses 23 points there, and Spam is going to be very happy about that, because he now has a quite safe lead when it comes to those playoff spots. If he doesn't make a mistake in the last 2 maps, I don't know if anyone will catch up to him in the overall rankings. Tween though, massive step right now, 55 points overall and another map win. Great stuff from Tween, as I think he finds himself up to 4th place in the overall rankings right now. Arel doing great so far too. And it seems like all of the top players, Ryulu, Arel, Tween, they're all showing up. Scrappy with an okay performance. But let's see how the rankings look between Spam and Pack. Has actually gotten 9th place right now, 88 points. So he is 38 points behind Spam. And if Spam can clutch this out, he will go to Lyon. It remains to be seen with 2 maps remaining if that will be the case. We are on to the 5th map, and this is Chill Shake, built by Firestorm. We've seen mistakes can happen here in practice. It's one of the hard maps. You definitely don't want to touch that first corner like some players did, but you can see it here in the warm-up. They have to do this jump over the road border into that downhill, and that's not even the identity, that's just a track. It is very precise when it comes to jumps and lines here. We'll see what happens in the race. For now, players are looking quite safe. The identity on this track, I can show it off before the players get here. It is this bumpy road section. The twist here is that they have to pass it with no grip on their car. So the car is going to slide out and you have to control it as you go across this bumpy road section. You can see Ryulu go for it here. He's first in the warm-up. He is looking good right now and gets to the identity. The first bump looks good, but he loses speed on the second one. And the freewheeling here will make him lose even more time exponentially until he gets to the multilap. Now I like to take the booster to have enough speed for that road jump that we talked about. If you get a bad identity, you probably take the booster to make sure you can get this jump again in the following laps. Let's see now. I am nervous on behalf of the players. I know what's at stake here. I know the hours they put into practice to try to get to playoffs, and it will all be decided in these final 2 maps. So much on the line here for these players. Let's see some support in chat for whoever you are cheering for right now as they go into the last 2 maps. Tween now with a huge mistake. Has he failed the start? Tween, oh no. 57.11 seconds. Huge mistake from Tween. Ay, ay, ay. 12 seconds. I don't know if he will keep his points now, but he should be safe for the playoffs overall, but will drop some positions. Probably. Wow, from riches to rags there. Going straight from a map win to last place in the first lap of the 5th map. Quite a turnaround for him. Bren touches that loop now. He will make it. Okay, very important that Bren makes that, or he has to respawn and he will not get closer to Spam. Very, very important for Bren that he stays alive there. As they go into the first identity. Will Bren flip over here? That is a very risky line. Oh, this is a long way over to the mutlap. He has very low speed. Like a turtle, he will make it, but this is probably close to 10 seconds in the added speed loss. Up to that 8th place now, and well, it's 7.5 that he has to make up to Pack in 8th place. I think he has to rely on a mistake from Spam now. If Spam makes a mistake, then Pack would actually get dangerously close himself to sniping that playoff spot. So it might be Pack who's more the discussion for those playoffs right now than Bren, who's in 13th place as of right now. Still a lot of driving to be done. For this map, we are looking at about a 6:50 race time. It's one of the shorter maps that are in play. Players are going to be happy about that. Map that's under 7 minutes long, as the other ones are close to 8.5. Second time on the identity. Great speed here from Aurel, Riulu, and Spam. But Kappa has just gotten lightning speed out of that identity. Jumps up to 3rd place. Does not go for the jump over the road border here. Interesting from him. Might be looking to just save it here, as he has the pace in the rest of the lap. We see Matt now in 5th, or is it 6th place at this point? 5th place. Good from Matt. If he can get 2 good maps on the last 2, he will get some points here. Papu in 6th, Pack in 7th, and rolling up to 8th. Wow, there's been some big mistakes. I think Scrappy maybe has made a huge mistake. 34 points on the line in 11th. And he is not at danger of getting down to the bottom 9 overall, but will maybe lose his points here if no other mistakes happen. Now they're going into the shaky part one more time. Over the no grip. They go. Spam and Kappa get it both pretty good. Spam with low speed. Matt will get a lot closer to him now with this added speed he has. Almost makes it to the tail of his car, but Spam remains ahead in 4th place, and this is a really good spot for Spam. Look at the difference, down to 8th right now. It is 7 seconds, and he knows it at this point that Spam only has to avoid mistakes to stay in the top 8 and have 1 map remaining between him and playoffs. He gets a shaky landing, and it's now only 5 seconds, but it's still a huge gap that he can work with in the last 3 laps here. Spam knows what's at stake. He knows he's been working for. Could pay off if he can stay ahead here. Just has to remain composed, drive safe laps without mistakes, and he will be in there. Brando in pretty desperate position right now. He is in 8th, but only 5 points, and he needs to make up 42 Spam to get himself into playoffs. Is gonna rely on a mistake from Spam here, and Spam has actually made a mistake. I think Spam, he is dropping down, and it's only actually 2 seconds now from between him and Bren. But Massa behind that again, 2.5 seconds. So rather comfortable lead still. But at this point, Spam, though he's made a mistake, he cannot make more big mistakes. It needs to be clean from this point and onwards. It's what we are hoping to see in the last 2 laps. Here we go. We have Aurel with a dominant lead right now. Ryulu in second. Huge step for him. Second place right now. Second place on the third place on the last one. First place on the one before that. Could be massive for him. Matt finally stepping up right now. After no top 8 position so far. This could be the one he's looking for. It's going good. Gets that identity very cleanly. Look at the speed he's gonna have here. Zooms up to the tail of Ryulu's car. And will contest that second place now in the last lap together with Kappa. Very close race between these 4 players. Though Kappa elects to not risk anything here. Wants to hold on to those 37 points. And let's see if Massa, desperate position for him too, only has 39 points right now overall and 0 so far in this step. And now a 9th place would not be good for him. Could he topple Papu here, who is 2.5 seconds ahead of him in the last lap? Remains to be seen. Let's see for Aurel. We have only 20 seconds left of driving or so. He's been going so fast this race. Super important for Aurel to get a good step here. Will propel him up in the overall rankings. One more identity between him and another 100 euros. And this is looking good, although the landing is shaky. But I don't think it's 2.5 seconds. No, it will be Aurel. Ryulu second. Kappa third, Matt fourth, Pack fifth, and if Spam gets this, which he will remain in the top 8. And now it gets interesting. The last map will actually decide it all right here. Brent has enough points to the point where if he remains top 8, he will maybe get to playoffs if Spam makes a mistake. We have Massa sliding slowly into that finish in 10th place. Scrappy with a huge loss of 34 points and Tween with a huge loss of 57 points. That's gonna be chill shake. One map remains in TrackMania Grand League Winter 2020, and it's the one which will decide the playoffs. Let's have one more look at the standings and what's at stake going into this map. We have Papu, who is for sure qualified. Ryulu, who is for sure qualified. Aurel, who is for sure qualified. Carl, who should be safe here as well. And then we have actually Spam, the one who has the most points on the line right now. If he fails, then players like Pack and Bren could catch up and take his spot. It's all going to come down to this last staircase right here. This is the identity on Sky Euro. You need to go up the staircase with the freewheeling, so if you touch a wall or if you clip the holes, you will not make it up, and it's a long way back to the last checkpoint. One mistake here could be fatal in terms of playoffs, and players are going on to the warm-up now. 1 minute 20 is all that remains before we go live. Let's have a look at what they've prepared for this most important map 21 that they've had to learn this season. There is a very important part right here where you need to jump over that road. You see some players going for it, and that is a very precise jump to line up because you're gonna land starting a drift on that following corner. You need to get that well every lap here, because the map is rather simple apart from that, and I don't expect we'll see a lot of other mistakes except for the identity. Coming out of this underground part here, and it is going to be another couple of dirt turns. The zigzag here, important to keep your gear. Want to steer at the right times to make sure that you stay in the upper gear. Now this very sharp corner. Reducing airtime on that jump, and then we go into the identity. Huge no drift from Arel there in that part. But let's see the identity. Oh, and they're pushing it so close. You want to keep as much speed as you can. You see Kappa had to respawn. If this happens in the match, I don't know if he would keep those 49 points. Ladies and gentlemen, here we go. The final map. The final one. In less than 8 minutes, we will have our 8 players in the playoffs. And this race will decide who it's gonna be. I think Tween touched the first checkpoint there. Drops down. Not a good start for him. So again, let's have a look at what's at stake. Bren needs to get points here, and he needs Spam to not get many points. Bren can get a good performance here, keep his points, and Spam happens not to keep his points, then Bren would get the playoff spot. If Pack gets a very good performance, Pack could get playoffs. If Spam makes a mistake, that could be the nail in the coffin for him. He would have to go to the Combine, challenge the Open League players, which is not an easy path to take. So it's all gonna hang on this one last map. Here we are coming up to the first identity. And Coco has hit the wall. He's out. Pack makes a small mistake, stabilizes, but here they go into the identity. Up the staircase here between the holes. A Revolution has made a mistake. He's out of there. Has to respawn. Arel, will Arel make it up? Arel, this is on the line. He does make it up. 71 points there. And if he had just a few less kilometers per hour, I think he could say bye-bye to those. Very, very crucial that he got up. But he's in 11th place right now. 2 points behind, 2 seconds behind Spam, who was in that 8th position. Now held by Papu. Here we go into the road jump. Super important to get this well, to line yourself up for this drift. It's a very technical section, and Spam gets it well. Passes Pack now in 7th place. Brendo looking very good so far. 3rd place in the battle for first right now. He needs this so badly to go his way. Could take a miracle to get into playoffs, but he's putting himself in a position where it could happen. If he gets 1st place right now, then he is looking very good. Then he's done his part, then he just needs Spam to make a mistake. See Massa in 3rd, Scrappy in 4th, Riolu in 5th right now, as they come up to the staircase. Ladies and gentlemen, let's see Matt with a poor entry. Massa has made a mistake as well. And this is actually looking so good for Spam right now. He jumps up to 4th place. And he knows the gap down to that 8th place is now 3 seconds. He can work with this. He can definitely work with this. They're halfway in the race. And Spam surely knows at this point what the differences are. Goes for the jump again. Will get it just fine. Catches up to Scrappy even. Up to the battle for 3rd. Oh my. Bren doing all he can right now. Look at his pace. He drives a 1:20.91 lap. That is a great pace. And he's first by 1.5 seconds. But if Spam doesn't make a mistake, then he can't get any closer to playoffs. Spam holds the key himself right now. It's all on him to clutch this out and order his plane ticket and his hotel to Lyon in less than a month. If he can get these last 3 minutes, well, here we go. Another time on the identity. Spam with a very risky line. Oh, he pushes so well through that identity. Gains 0.4 on Bren. Very close there, but he will make it. Good stuff from Spam now. Have another look at the field. I think we saw Matt drop even further down. Now in 13th place. That's going to put him out of the fight. I think we could also say that Massa might be out of the fight right now. For playoffs, Papu with a mistake, but he is already in playoffs. Oh, this is so interesting. Bren has actually dropped down. Bren has dropped down, and oh no. Bren right now. This is not a good look for him. Orel. Now, not a good look for him either, who is in 8th place with 71 points on the line. That is huge. But look at this. The tables have turned. It is now Spam in the fight for first, and Bren holding on to the top 8 position that he currently holds. Spam. He knows the difference right now. 5 seconds he has to work with. Doesn't need the identity perfect. He just needs to survive right now. Oh, almost clips the hole. Low speed here, but he's gonna take that any day of the week. He doesn't care if he's 2nd or 3rd or 4th. He just needs to be ahead of Bren in 8th. And Bren, no, Bren has dropped down. Bren is in the bottom 8. And this could be it, ladies and gentlemen. Bren, 13th place. And I think that will be it for Bren. I can't see him making it through right now. It would take a miracle. A revolution, at least, making it a bit easier. Up to 12th, but that is many players you have to catch up to in only 2 laps. And it could actually fall to Pack. Pack has to remain ahead of Spam and ahead the top 8. Could be huge for him, and let's actually have a look. So Pack 97 points right now. Going into the step, Spam had 91. So if Pack gets a top 8 and Spam makes a mistake, Pack would get a top 8 position. But ladies and gentlemen, this is the man of the hour. All eyes on him in the last 2 laps now. The pressure on this man's shoulders, his heartbeat right now must be through the roof, as he knows what's at stake. Oh my god, I can even feel the pressure for him here. 2 more times across this uphill. This one will go well, and we have 1 lap remaining of the group stage of Trackmania Grand League Winter 2020. This is so close right now. Spam, will he clutch it out? He has had some mishaps in step 2, step 3, step 4, lost many points, but kept together in step 4 and step 5, and is looking at a playoff spot potentially right now. 1 lap remaining, and you can feel the pressure in the way he's driving. He knows he just has to do this 1 more time now. Spam, will he do it? In the beta season, he was driving well, but he could not play the playoffs this time around. If he gets in, he will make sure to go there to Lyon. He's close with Pack right now, his contender, but it does not matter if he just survives. No mistakes so far. 1 more time across the identity, and he will lock himself in. Spam, will you do it? No risks need to be had right now. Safe and secure across this last uphill, and he will do it. Congratulations, Spam. You are making it to Lyon, and there we go. Have Kappa with the map win, 100 euros. Scrappy in 2nd, Pack in 3rd, Spam 4th, Papu 5th, Riolu 6th, huge step for him. Orel 7th, huge step, and Roland actually gets 8th. Was it Massa who dropped down? Unlucky for Massa. But there we have it, ladies and gentlemen. We have our first 8 playoff players. The bottom 8 right now are gonna have to contest the Open Grand League players and see if they can make it to Lyon themselves. Let's have a look at the step rankings and the final league standings. Here we go. We have Orel winning the step with 78 points. We have Kappa in 2nd with 69 points. We have Riolu in 3rd with 66 points. Pack in 4th with 59. Spam in 5th with 53 gets to playoffs. Papu 6th. Scrappy 7th, and Roland gets 8th. In the league rankings, we have Papu winning the league, winning the group stage 289. Riolu gets second, 225. Huge for Riolu, second place in the league. Arel gets third, Carl gets fourth, Kappa fifth, Scrappy sixth, Spam gets seventh, and Tween gets that eighth playoff spot. Very, very nice. The players who are now going to have to go back to the drawing board and practice leading up to the combine are going to be Bren, Matt, Pack, Massa, Coco, Revolution, Marcin, and Roland.